had several people ask me what I do to treat my tendonitis as an artist, and so I thought I would do this video. I'm not any type of medical professional that, like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physical therapist or anything like that, but I have been dealing with tendonitis in basically every joint in my upper extremities from my autoimmune condition and painting for the last 5 years or so, and I've had wrist problems for more like 10 or 15 years. It started with my wrists and then progressed to all the joints on both sides, but it affects my right arm most because I'm right-handed, and I think most of you, if you're artists and you do a lot of things with your dominant hand, you'll realize that it will start hurting more, and that's kind of the early warning sign that you're doing too much. The first thing that I do for my tendonitis is rest it, and I ice it. And so it's kind of the method, it's called RICE. It's rest, ice, compression, elevation. That's usually what all the doctors and sports medicine people will tell you to do if you first hurt yourself, is you want to use the RICE method. And what I found is after I paint each time, even now, like years into having tendonitis, if I feel like my arm is really sore, like I've done a little bit too much on it, then I go ahead and I get my bag of frozen peas, because that's what I found is the very best ice, is just the cheapest bag of frozen peas you can buy at Walmart. It's better than any ice pack that you spend all this money on. You can get one for like $1 and you can use it for a really long time. And I just get that out of the freezer, I wrap it in a towel and stick it on my arm or wherever it's hurting on my body for about 15 minutes. And I set a timer on my phone so that way I don't go over the 15 minutes. And then I take the ice off and I let the area warm up on its own. That's something that one of my physical therapists told me to do. So I've been to physical therapy lots of different times for this over the years. I also try to rotate what I do every other day with my arm. If I'm gonna work on a painting, I paint with my right arm one day, and then I usually only paint for 3 or 4 hours at a time, so I don't paint for 8 hours. That would be too much for me. Everybody is a little bit different, and so if you have tendonitis, you'll have to test your limits and see how far along your tendonitis is in its healing, because at the beginning, when you first get it, it might be so painful that you can't even paint for a half an hour or draw or whatever art method that you do for any time at all. So you have to really listen to yourself. And if it starts hurting too bad, then you kind of know, okay, I probably should stop now, and you have to listen to your body. I use my left hand for all the things like the mouse on the computer, and then I can rest my right arm during that time. I found that if I divide the tasks up between my two arms, it helps take the pressure off of it. So if you're using your right arm for everything and you're developing tendonitis in it, I would start slowly taking some of that pressure off the right arm by practicing using your left arm to do things. And it's hard teaching yourself to be ambidextrous. I'm gonna do a whole video on that here in the future at some point of how I did it. Practicing with the mouse with your left hand is a really great place to start, and that's how I started kind of easing myself into being more ambidextrous. Another idea is to paint in different positions, because you'll use different muscles, and this is a great thing. So like, for example, when you're painting and you have your hand up like this, you're using your bicep more, you're using your wrist less. Now if you have the painting laying flat and then you are looking down when you're painting, you're going to be using your tricep more and your shoulders more and your neck. It's not the best way to paint with something laying down. I don't think it hurts your neck and stuff, but it's a trade-off. It's just like using one arm versus the other arm for different tasks. If you can paint part of the time with the canvas laying flat, and then you can change the position and have it upright some, and you can rotate those every 30 minutes or so, then you're using different muscles and nothing gets overworked. The other thing that I found that's really awesome to use after I paint is a roller massage ball. My mom is a massage therapist and personal trainer, and so she's the one who introduced me to this little nifty device. It's like 10 bucks on Amazon. I'm putting a link in the description area to the one I bought. It's great. I mean, it's the best $10 I've spent on any massage device, because you can use it on wherever you want on your body, and you don't have to use your fingers to try to massage yourself. You know, it's easier for your non-dominant hand to use. I'm not a massage therapist, so I'm not going to show you guys the techniques that I use. I just kind of do what feels good on there. My mom said that she used it for stripping, which is a technique that helps break up the areas in there of the tissue that are healing so that they don't develop scars in your tendons, but I don't know enough about it to show you. So I'm not going to do that in this video, but you could Google it and maybe there's somebody else who is a massage therapist or a physical therapist that actually explains how to do that. But I just use it because it helps relax my muscles. And so I just kind of rub it on there for like 5 minutes or so in the areas that hurt, and it just relaxes everything out. It makes it feel so much better. And the other thing that I have done, I'm not on it currently because I'm taking oral CBD, but this stuff is awesome. I was using this for about a month before I started oral CBD. It's Floyd's of Leadville, and this company sells CBD for sports. And they don't say that it's for sports injuries, but it really worked well for me. It's a transdermal cream, and I don't remember how much this cost. I think it was like 60 bucks or something, but it lasts a really long time. It was worth it, and it feels like you're taking ibuprofen, but within 5 minutes of putting it on, I could feel the effects, and it made it feel a lot better. CBD does have some drug interactions, so if you're thinking about using the transdermal cream, since it will go into your bloodstream and it's not just a topical, I would contact your doctor first just to make sure you're not on anything else that's going to be, have negative side effects and adverse reactions along with it. And this goes without saying, but if you want to heal tendonitis, you need to eat a healthy diet. And part of that is eating enough protein in your diet. Now, you can be a vegan and heal tendonitis, so I'm not saying that you have to eat meat or anything, but you need to get enough protein and vitamin C in your diet because those are the building blocks for your tendons. And so if you want it to heal quicker, eat a super healthy diet. Get all the processed sugars and all that stuff out of your diet, and eat as many fruits, vegetables, and proteins that are high quality as possible. The last thing I would like to discuss are stretches. Now, I do stretches every time before I paint, but I'm going to show you guys in a later video exactly what stretches I do. But I found these just off of a simple Google search, arm stretches, and you can, wherever you're having tendonitis, there are so many physical therapists and people out there on YouTube who do this for a living and can tell you how to do stretches properly. But you want to have some good stretches for all the areas of your arm, because if you can do stretches before painting, then you could maybe head off getting tendonitis to begin with. For me, it just seems like it just helps everything get limbered up if I stretch out really good first before I paint. I stretch for about 10 minutes. I hope that these tips help you cope with tendonitis as an artist if you've found that you've developed it or you feel like you're starting to develop it. Well, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.